I get a lot of messages from people who want to change their lives. A lot of people who want to be happier, you know, they want to feel better. They want to heal themselves. They want to do all kind of wonderful things. And they ask me, like, what are some ways that I can change my life? And I always tell people one of the things that they tell us in all our workshops and seminars and all the things I've ever been to all over the world, the gurus always say that when you change your habits, you change your life. So if you have bad habits in a certain area, if you change them little by little, gradually, those habits turn into your life. Those better habits. So let's say you don't eat well. This is one I'm working with lately. And so instead of just saying, okay, I'm going to just, throw everything in my house away and just go for broke, why don't you just change a habit? So have a healthy breakfast every morning. Eat a salad for lunch. Put more fruits and vegetables into your diet. It's exactly what I'm doing right now. So these habits slowly but surely become your norm. You see? And that's how you change your life, little by little by little. A lot of people fail because they try to make big changes and then they can't maintain them. I've noticed in my life when I make little changes, that's when they stick. So the other day I was out on Instagram, and you guys know I love this Millennial Therapist on Instagram, Sarah Kuboric. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm gonna have to listen to it on Google and see. And she calls herself the Millennial Therapist. So you guys know I love her. I use her work all the time. And she came up with a list of life-changing habits. And when I saw the list, I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. I gotta tell my subscribers. So right now I'm going to do the introduction, and then I'm going to tell you the life-changing habits that may help us get a better life. I'm Queen Osset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit that red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to anybody and everybody too. And leave us a positive comment in the comment section. And don't forget to stick around to the end of the video, because I'm going to read out some positive comments from other videos and respond to them. Okay? If you would like to get a reading done, please email me. If you look underneath this video, you will see my email, you will see my Patreon, you will see all of my social media, you'll see Ask an Aquarius merchandise. You'll see the name of this particular therapist that I'm going to be quoting her information today. So if you want to look her up on Instagram, you can follow her page too. She has a lot of great advice and talks about a lot of great stuff. And let's see, if you want to give my channel a love donation, my PayPal is underneath this video, and a lot of other stuff. So check out underneath this video. Okay, life-changing habit number 1. If you aren't already, start to listen to your intuition. Now, some of us already do, so if you're already listening to it, try to listen to it even more. What do I mean by intuition? What I mean is your gut instincts. Sometimes we have decisions to make of all kinds, and our heart and our head and our gut might want 3 different things. Okay? I come across this in readings all the time. Somebody's heart may want to stay with the person. Their head may be telling them to head for the hills. And their gut, which is their soul, which is their intuition, might have a totally different answer or might agree with the head or the heart. So listen to the gut. Follow the gut. According to everybody I know who's intuitive, the gut instinct is the one you want to go with. And if you're already somebody who listens to your intuition, follow it and trust it even that much more. Try to follow it without even questioning it. this is definitely a great life-changing habit, because your intuition is your soul, and it's tapped into the divine, it's tapped into the spirits and your ancestors, it's tapped into the energy that's around you. So your brain is limited by the amount of knowledge you've put into it, but your intuition is not. Your intuition is infinite. Number 2, setting boundaries. If you do not have boundaries with certain people, or if you have no boundaries at all, this is one for you. Because not having boundaries with people is a bad habit. It's a habit that gets a lot of us in trouble. I know as a young lady, I didn't have the best boundaries with a lot of people, family included. You should have boundaries with everybody in your life. And a boundary is basically, it's just letting them know what is and is not acceptable for you. A lot of us will let people do things and say things that are not acceptable for us just to keep the peace, or to, avoid conflict, or because we love them even. This is not healthy, because the more you let people step all over your, your boundary, the more your self-esteem and your self-worth takes a hit. So you need to set and maintain your boundaries with everybody in your life. Number 3, being honest. In our culture, in our societies, because I see this all over the world, honesty is really not something that is, we do encourage kids, and we say honesty is the best policy, and we have all these little cliches and things, but people are often very dishonest. We're often dishonest. And some of the times it's to get ourselves out of situations. Some of the times we're dishonest just because. Some people lie just because it entertains them. It's not even a good reason. Some people like to be smoke and mirrors, I used to be like that. I like to, have people all tripped up. I tell one group of people one thing, tell another group of people another thing, have everybody tripped up. Nobody knew where I was coming and going. It was all smoke and mirrors. So different people are dishonest for different reasons. But being honest, when I switched over from being dishonest to being honest, the biggest thing I noticed was that I didn't have to remember anything. I didn't have to remember those elaborate stories or what I said or none of that kind of stuff. And I liked that a lot. I liked being able to just talk without having to remember. What did I tell this person about this person? Did I tell her that she was my cousin? And I'd be forgetting my stories. They were elaborate, so I would forget them. So when I started to be honest, I was like, this is easy. It's really easy. The hardest part about being honest is that sometimes people don't like what you have to say. They don't like your truth sometimes. So I say it anyway, and I say it as kindly as I possibly can, and I stick to it. So the majority of the time, unless you're in a life or death situation where somebody has a gun to your head and says lie or else, in most cases you can be honest with the people in your life. And if you don't want to discuss something, or if you don't want to be honest about something, you can tell people, I don't want to talk about it. That's not something I wish to share with you. You're allowed to say that. You don't have to make something up just so they'll get off your back. So I like that honesty piece. When I became a priestess, that was one of the stages. It was a whole stage of learning to be honest, shedding your deceptions. And it really does free you. That's why they talk about honesty is it frees you, And like I said, you don't have to remember anything. Validating our emotions. Whatever you feel is what you feel. Okay? Now, I always tell you that negative emotions you don't want to dwell in. You don't want to dwell in anger for too long. You want to deal with it productively and move on. That's true. You don't want to dwell in negative emotions, but you don't want to invalidate them either. You don't want to pretend like they don't exist. Some people are so positive that they won't even admit when they're hurting. They won't admit when they're angry. They won't admit when they're sad. And they try to, blanket it And that's not healthy. You have to acknowledge, at least to yourself, you have to acknowledge how you feel and then find a productive, healthy way to work through it. One of the things I learned from being an Aquarius is that not being in tune and working through your emotions can really mess you up. It can really mess you up. It can cause internal problems. It can cause all kind of things, breakdowns, psychological things. It can cause all kind of things, addictions, all kind of stuff comes from that. So validate your own emotions and the emotions of other people, and then find a productive way to deal with them. Taking responsibility. This is a really good habit. I learned this in the very beginning, responsibility and accountability. I learned these two things when I first started getting into spirituality. Responsibility is when several people have a hand in something. Okay? So it's a family's responsibility to take care of each other and the children. That's a responsibility. Accountability is when something is all on you. This is your accountability. You're in charge of this particular thing. So we should always take our responsibility. If there's something, not passing the buck, not making excuses. If I make a mistake, I just say I made a mistake. Period. I take responsibility or accountability if it's all on me, and I say that I'm sorry. And I then try to do better the next time. That's the most you can do. But there's so many people, and you see them all the time. There's so many people who will deflect, blame it on other people. How many people have hurt you and then blamed it on you? I get that all the time. People come to me and be like, she cheated on me, or he cheated on me, or he did this, or she abused me, and then blank the whole thing on me. It happens all the time. If I had $1 for every ex that blamed something on me that they did, I'd have all the dollars. So take responsibility for your stuff. Take accountability for your actions. When you do something, admit it and do better. It's the only thing we can do as human beings. The excuses and the bullshit, nobody's buying. Everybody know you full of shit. Believing in ourselves. This is a beautiful, life-changing habit. Do you know how many people I talk to who are brilliant and don't believe in themselves? As a matter of fact, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've never met a person who had no potential at all. Not once in my life. I've met drug addicts who had scholarships to college. I've met homeless people who were artistically, vocally, all kind of different ways talented. I've met people all over the world in different socioeconomic places and situations and traditions that could have done so many things if they only had believed in themselves. A lot of times other people aren't going to believe in you. Some people want to try to stop you on purpose because they don't want to see you do what you do. They don't want to see you get ahead of them is really what it is. Some people will discourage you just because of that. The only person you need to believe in you is you. That's it. Once you believe in yourself, and then you start to do the discipline and the work to have whatever the manifestation is, you'll get it. In most cases, if it's meant for you, it's going to come to you. And all you have to do is believe in yourself and do the work to walk towards it. That's it. But I've watched person after person not do the things that they wanted to do because they didn't believe in themselves. Accepting who we are, flaws and all. I have a good friend who is overweight. And she is always bitching about being overweight. She's always upset. Whenever it's time to get dressed, she tries on 1,000 things. She's very self-deprecating, loathes herself, doesn't like her arms. She doesn't like different parts of her body for different reasons, and it all goes back to her weight. So every time I talk with her, every time I see her and we have to try on clothes or get ready to go somewhere or anything like that, I'm going to hear it. And some of the times to the point that she gets herself so worked up that she doesn't go. She starts to cry, then she doesn't want to go. I've been through this with her for years and years and years. And the bottom line is, like I told her, I said, look, you have to accept yourself as you are. Either you're going to do one or two things. You're going to do the work to get to the physical look that you want, or you're going to have to love yourself as you are. Because you're never going to get anywhere hating and loathing yourself. Period. So wherever you are, even if you aren't where you want to be, your love has to start right there. It has to be, I love you. I love you as you are. I want to change some things with you, but I'm going to love you through the process. You can't hate you through the process. It's never going to work. So you have to accept yourself as you are with your flaws, even as you're working on the flaws. This is I love this one so much because this is such a powerful, life-changing habit. If you can do that, I think a lot of people's lives will change for the better. Paying attention to our needs. This one really trips me up. I really love this one because I talk to people all day, every day. You guys already know that. I talk to men, I talk to women, I talk to young people, I talk to all kinds of people. And one of the things that I get from a lot of people, especially women, but not just women, I get is this whole concept of putting everybody's needs before themselves. And I mean everybody. Everybody. They put their children first, their parents first, their job first, their spouse first, their best friend first, their cousin Nene first. Everybody is first, and then they think about themselves as an afterthought sometimes, and sometimes don't even do that. I remember I was talking to this woman once, and she was stressed out, like really stressed out. And she and I sat and talked. I did her reading, and I told her, you need a vacation. You need to get away from all these responsibilities, because she was like working. She had these kids. She had a husband. She was taking care of her mom, who was in a wheelchair. She had all of this stuff going on that she was doing, and she was not paying any attention to herself at all. Her self-care was out the window. She told me her roots, like she used to get her hair dyed, and she was like, girl, my roots are down here. She was like, they're down there. And I was like, girl, because her self-care had just gone out the window since she started taking care of her mother. And it had been like 19 months or so. She's 19, 20 months, she told me. And I was just like, you need a vacation, just a weekend, just a weekend to yourself. And I'll never forget, she booked a vacation, a road trip, and she was supposed to take the train and go to this little beachside town, stay for the weekend. She had everything set up. She had somebody to watch her mother. She had somebody to help her husband with the kids. Everything was on point. And her best friend called her and told her that she had an emergency and needed her to come to the house and, watch her kids and do something with this emergency. And I don't remember what the emergency was, but it was some emergency. And she did not go. She didn't get her money back either, because she waited to the last minute. So she didn't go on her, weekend excursion because she put her best friend first. And then she couldn't understand why I didn't understand. And I was like, you put everybody ahead of yourself. The one time you decided to do something for yourself, you mean to tell me somebody else couldn't help her? Somebody else could have went there, with her kids. She could have made alternative plans. What would she have done if you had already been at the beachside town? She would have made alternative plans. And I was just like, I can't believe, and I didn't say this to her, but I was thinking in my mind, I can't believe she did that. But it's because she had this insecurity about people not liking her. So she always put them first. So please pay attention to your own needs. In my life, Goddess comes first. Goddess comes tippy top. Then comes me. I come right after Goddess, and then comes my daughter. And everything else comes underneath that. The way that this woman was living, everything was on top of her. And God or spirituality wasn't even in her picture. It was just all these people that she wanted to love her. And it took a lot of talking with her and time, and she went to therapy before she was able to really start to give herself self-care. Acknowledging our worth. It is not conceit to acknowledge your worth. Now, I mean, you shouldn't be, acting simple, out there in the street, swagging around, but you should acknowledge your worth. You should acknowledge your talents and your abilities. You should acknowledge how far you've come. You should acknowledge your greatness. You should acknowledge the gifts that you've been given. Acknowledging them is a good thing. And also, it leads us into the energy of gratitude. You acknowledge your worth, you acknowledge yourself, and you're grateful for who you are and what you have. Speaking to ourselves with respect. So many people talk to themselves, their mental talk, either out loud or in their head. So many people talk to themselves in such a nasty manner. Like, they say things to themselves like, come the fuck on, what is wrong with you? Like, stuff like that. People have told me, even myself. I remember talking to myself very negatively. A lot of us have a tendency to hear this tape in our head. And I remember when I went to this workshop and they told us to call ourselves a name of respect, And that's when I said, you know what, I'm going to talk to myself and I'm going to say, okay, Queen. And that's what I call myself every single time. And I tell myself, okay, Queen, you did this. It's time to clean up this. You did that. It's okay. We got this. So talk to yourself with respect, even when you make a mistake. Don't call yourself names. Don't call yourself stupid. I mean, I hear people talk about themselves in such an awful way. I know most people talk about themselves in ways they wouldn't even talk about another person to their face. But they'll say these things to themselves. So you're tearing yourself down. And usually what you're saying to yourself is things that other people may have said to you or those around you. So watch what they call your self-talk. Talk to yourself with respect. Letting go of things that no longer serve us. I work on this all the time. All the time I will go through my little inventory of emotions and find myself holding on to something that needed to be let go of 20 years ago. It happens all the time. And I think that the more you heal, the more you let things go. And the more things there are to let go, the longer it will take. But let go of anything that is not good for you. Thoughts, ideas, behaviors, people. If something, when they say serve you, a lot of people get tripped up with that. It's not about things that are, just doing things for you. It's about things that are good for you. Those are the things that serve you. People, situations, habits, ideas. Those are the things that serve you. They're good for you. So if there are things, if there are ideas, if there's pain, if there's people, whatever the case is, she's like, let it go. It's not getting you anywhere. As a matter of fact, it's doing the opposite of getting you somewhere. It's actually harming you. Let it go. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time, takes a little bit of forgiveness, a little bit of self-forgiveness, a little bit of reflection, some emotional healing. But we can all do it if we so choose. So work towards letting go of things that just do not serve you anymore. And the last one says, be open to change. What a beautiful life-changing habit. Be open to change. Be open to doing new things. Be open to going new places. Be open to moving. Be open to new ideas. Be open to new careers. Be open to trying new things. I found out at 40 years old that I'm good at painting. And I've been painting ever since. But I didn't know till I was 40. I could have been painting all that time. If I had just been open to change, if I had been open to trying new things. And I was in certain ways, but like that was one I thought about for years and years and years. And I would always just put it out my mind because I'm like, I don't know how to paint. I'm not really that creative. I don't draw that well. But come to find out, abstract art is my thing. So be open to change. Be open to newness. Be open to going new places. I was talking to somebody the other day and she was really scared because she was telling me she has a job offer in Japan and she's really afraid, to go live in another country. And it's not, a long contract. It's like a 5-year contract. And I was like, go for it. 5 years in Japan, you'll learn some new stuff. You're not going to be there for the rest of your life. You'll hang out. You might, see a couple other countries while you're there. It's an experience of a lifetime. Be open to change. Don't be afraid of it. So those are the life-changing habits. So think about them, and if any of them really resonate with you, really consider them. I think she gave a great list, and I love her work, and I will be using her work again because I got some more saved in my phone because I was like, these are brilliant. She is brilliant. Our first positive comment comes from Nono82. Hey, Nono. Nono said, wow, I see I've been on both sides of this. Now that I'm aware, I'll definitely be more conscious about it. I never want to hurt people's feelings or trigger arguments. But honesty is the best policy. It is the best policy, but you just have to be careful. When you're honest with somebody, just say it the nicest, most polite way you possibly can. The other day, somebody was in one of my groups, and it's a nonviolent communication group. And he was saying that he has a family member who has a bad odor. Because apparently the family member doesn't have good hygiene, doesn't change their sheets, doesn't shower enough, and he wants to tell the family member that they stink, basically is the bottom line. And he was like, how do I say this without getting, the other person offended? And I was like, there's no way to say it that they're not going to be feeling some type of way about it. Hearing that you stink is in my opinion, it's a good thing because at least somebody told you and you can handle it, but to the person that's getting the information is usually embarrassing at least. So I was like, there really isn't much you can do. You're going to be honest with the person. Just say it as kindly as you can. Instead of being like, yo, dog, you humming. Or, yo, what's up? Woo, chaw. Instead of going there with it, just be like, come here. Let's talk for a moment. And I want to discuss your hygiene with you because I've noticed that you have a really bad odor. Now, that way that I just said it is not going to be any less problematic to this person, but at least it was in the kindest way possible because they're going to have to deal with this information. So just give it to them the kindest way as you possibly can. Be honest, don't lie, but tell them nicely. And for me, when I was going through priestess training, that was a very difficult lesson to learn. I stumbled on that one for a long time. So just try, do your best with it until you get it down pat. Now we have a message from Niyanta Prasad. I think that's how you say that. I confess my feelings to an Aquarius man. Uh-oh. Now he is keeping me at a distance. Uh-oh. Won't let me go, but won't even talk to me. What do I do? Just keep it moving. Just keep doing whatever it was you were doing. He knows that you're feeling him. He's feeling something. Either he's not feeling you, or he's feeling like he's not ready, or there's some fear, there's something there. Because you told him the feelings, he backed up but didn't go away. So I would just fall back, as we say in the hood, fall back. Keep doing the things that you're doing. Be open If he wants to chat or something like that, be open to it, but don't try to pursue, don't try to make him, don't try to do none of those kind of things. If you see him, be real friendly, be polite, say what's up, and leave it at that. Because whatever that is, whatever that emotion is that scared the shit out of him, he needs to work through it. Okay? All right, love. Talk to you guys later. Come back soon because I got a lot more to say.